Hello and welcome to another Star Wars The Old Republic video. Today I'm going to be telling you why 7.1.1, the update that shouldn't matter, actually does matter. So generally any update that has two periods in it, two decimals, doesn't really matter in the sense of these are not usually content updates, right? Sometimes they'll add a tiny little bit, but the goal is not to add content, and usually they're so minor that they're kind of a bump in the pavement that you don't really have to think about too much. This one is totally different. Why is that? Well, first off, the fact that Galactic Seasons 3 was supposed to come out, didn't come out, but will come out. So yes, we are getting Galactic Seasons 3 real soon. It was supposed to start with this update. They found a bug, and it should take a couple days. I've got it listed somewhere that they've announced what day they should be able to launch Galactic Seasons 3. I think it might even tell you when you load the game. So yeah, Galactic Seasons 3, right? That's an important aspect of this update. I don't consider it content, even though it technically is content in the fact that it's going to make you play and grind the game for these achievements that at the end of the day are questionable as to how much we really need them. Feast of Prosperity. So here we go. Feast of Prosperity is starting November 1st, and it's going to run all November long, like 29th is when it ends. So really long. And new edition of the Feast of Prosperity event comes with new rewards such as the Gorman's favorite weapon set, Dubba and Gaborga transportation skiffs, and Feast Hollow Toy. So yeah, Feast Prosperity, they're giving you a few more reasons to keep doing it if you've already been doing it and thought you had everything. Outfitter improvement, this one's pretty big, comes with some bugs as well, but the number of slots in Outfitter has been doubled. Players can now unlock 32 slots instead of 16, subscriber thing. And you can also name your outfits, which I think that's super awesome. And there's a new toggle button you need to be aware of because it's been creating all kinds of bugs. Yeah, so let's go on Reddit. And I had a few things prepared, just kind of funny, like logging in for the first time after the update, be like, this guy had this graphical bug. I've seen it before. Oh, it sucks for him. Really funny though. I didn't have that issue, but yeah, he did. This is big. So what they've done is they've given us the ability to buy access for the collector's edition. So the vendor in-game that was only available to people who purchased the collector's of the edition. Wow, the collector's edition of the game, you can now buy it with cartel coins, 2,000 cartel coins, and you now have access to the collector's edition vendor that's on fleet, as well as getting a VIP wristband and this armor set, right? So people are pretty stoked, excited, pumped. Yeah, they're happy about that. I'm happy about that. I'm going to be buying that. I'm excited as well. So yeah, we don't need to go over that one yet. Here's the one about the gear outfits. So if you're finding your gear outfits are bugged and you're having problems, they've added this toggle called show gear as an outfit, and just make sure you uncheck that box. You cannot change any of your outfits. They won't work properly unless you uncheck that box. So that is what I was getting at there. Balance changes. We're going to be talking a lot about class balance changes. Some of the classes are going to be changing significantly, and you're actually going to be needing to look into a new rotation. Other classes are getting buffs, some are getting nerfs, some it's just like, whatever, who cares? But it's good. Increased reward of daily resource matrix. I'm always happy for anything that makes the grind less painful, and this is a great one. It's going to be easier to get daily resource matrix in many ways. We'll talk about that in a bit. And the daily Manan area is now an invasion zone, so you can actually invade and conquer Manan, so that's pretty awesome. And there's new conquest objectives added in the Manan invasion zone, so you can get conquest points for doing stuff in there. Sweet. And collector's edition vendor, we talked about that, right? So we talked about the outfitter slots being there. They've got a bunch of little bug fixes. Daily resource matrix. So group finder role and need reward, they doubled it. Not a big deal. Honestly, not a great way to get them anyways. But world bosses now reward 8 per kill instead of 3, and the weekly priority targets mission now is 40, up from 20. So killing world bosses, huge boost to how fast you're going to get DRMs. Also, weekly missions for the daily areas and the heroic areas has been doubled, so you're getting more DRMs from doing your weeklies for dailies or weekly for heroics, which for me are the main ways I get them, so huge boost there. Really excited, especially with the daily areas, that big boost from 25 to 50. Oh, that's going to be nice. The weekly heroics, you can definitely go after those ones as well. I just personally find the daily areas what I prefer to do. And world bosses, again, they're great source. They buffed them. I usually don't do world bosses just because it can be a little bit inconsistent and boring with groups because there's a lot of downtime with most groups. So great if you want to mostly AFK though. Added Java scraps to deconstruct packages for level 80 gear. Yay! Okay, this is great. This is going to make it easier to get Java scrap again. I've been struggling with the trickle and not having as much purple Java scrap. There's a bunch of other things. Guild ships can travel to Manan. They've definitely made some changes to level sync and how gear is being shifted. They claim that it's a good thing. Players wearing level appropriate gear for an area will not become noticeably weaker when being level shifted downwards. So that sounds like a buff. It sounds like you shouldn't have to deal with the problem of out-leveling a planet and suddenly being way weaker in the same gear just because you pass the level scaling limit. But I've also noticed that some of the heroics are harder for me to do. So I haven't done full testing yet, but it looks like they screwed up level scaling while trying to make it easier. They made some things that also made it harder. When is the insanity ever going to stop? A lot of other bug fixes. There's probably going to be some really cool things that I missed because I've seen some really cool things come out and I didn't make like a nice summary of the most important things. So we're just skimming through here, right? Dual sabers can no longer rotate 180 degrees in the character's hands while running and walking for all body types. That's good, right? Oh, they fixed the thing where if you send a large number of credits to another player, it can become COD instead. Don't know if I want to test that out, but apparently it's been fixed. And yeah, so there's just a few other little bug fixes, a few other things that can be beneficial. Cartel market, they've listed a few things in here. A big important thing to note is they've changed the icons of Hypercrate's Ultimate Cartel Packs. They look absolutely ugly now, but it's harder to get scammed by somebody trying to pass off a cartel pack as a whole Hypercrate. Right, so that's nice. Also, there are tons of new things on the cartel market. A lot of them are just old items being rotated back in, but people are very excited that there's finally been a refresh or an update to the cartel market. So that is good news, and they've made a few other little fixes as well to some items. Items and economy. There's almost nothing that's changing about the economy. There was one kind of thing that they've changed about the economy. Whatever, it's not going to make a difference. Items, though, one of the big things that's really going to be a difference now is that relics are actually scaling, working in level scaled content, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, especially the level 80 relics, so item rating 312 and above, they now actually have the proc or the triggered ability, the activated or the triggered ability now scales with item rating, so they become more powerful. Before, it was just really weird that relics like had the same stats no matter what. It was like, what? Other than the power and the map and the mastery and endurance or whatever it is. So yeah, relics now actually do get a lot better with item rating, and they're supposed to work properly in all level scaled content. So sweet there. That is awesome and a nice little fix if that fix is actually working as intended. There's some other items that have been updated as well, mostly kind of like cosmetic fixes, stuff like that. Oh, also the vendors on Coruscant and Dromund Kaas, they have the legacy requirements removed or whatever, so now it's easier on any character to go in and get the cosmetic items and stuff like that. You don't have to have those stupid like, oh, you're the wrong character, blah, 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 right? So, and oh, they fixed some decorations as well. That's cool to see there. Yeah. Let's see, is there anything else under items and economy that I really want to get into that you can't look on your own? Oh, the following guaranteed upgrade chest will now check for empty slots first when opened. I don't know what it means by checking for an empty slot. Like, does it mean it won't upgrade an empty slot and give you a 320 piece? Because that would be awesome if it stopped giving you 320s when you have an empty piece. But I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I haven't tested them out at all. So these are all your requisition caches from doing like the weekly missions. So that's interesting. I'm curious what that will turn out to be. I haven't taken a look at that. Let's see. So none of these matters. Wow, there's so much stuff. Razor's Kickstart tactical item now correctly working after the player's character has been resurrected. Wow. Yeah, they made it so no one wanted to use the tactical that much anyways. Whatever. Blah, 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 blah. Wow, there's so much stuff. Anyways, the other thing here with the currencies is now they've increased the cap of some of the currencies, and they've increased the amount you can gain per week. So now it's 1,200 instead of 999 for your daily resource matrix, your operation catalyst, your war zones, and your flashpoint stabilizers. Flashpoint stabilizers already had a total cap higher than 999, so they didn't change. I think they're 2,500, but their weekly cap has gone up, and the other ones have had their total cap increase to that 1,200 as well. Combat styles. I'm going to skip all the balance changes right now. That's a lot of stuff to go over there, and we'll get back to that in a little bit. Flashpoints, some bug fixes. Eternal Championship, the solo plus mode, can now be properly progressed as a group. Awesome. They've apparently nerfed Gods from the Machine just a little bit in master mode. KP, bug fix, R4 anomaly, lots of changes to the R4 anomaly, generally making it easier to progress through, and also introducing some new interesting bugs that make it a lot harder to clear. Yay. Typical game update style, right? You know, you say, we're gonna fix stuff, make it better, and then there's bugs that make it harder. Missions and NPCs, I'm not gonna really go through here in a lot of detail, but there's definitely a lot of interesting things. Like, they fixed it so that Imperial heroic missions on Osis are supposed to be completable while in a group, so hopefully that is a real fix, because it's annoying. There's some other areas like Black Hole where you can't do them as a group. CZ-198 can bug out, right? Weekly Galactic Conflicts hard mode mission to be set at a minimum level of 80. So basically they're just saying mass mode flashpoints by activity finder required level 80. We forgot to change the quest. So that's not really a big deal anyways, other than you might need to abandon the mission if you already have it. Fix some other things, lots of fixes. Wow, lots of little fixes to missions and stuff. So I'm surprised there's this many bug fixes. You know, it's like, can you, like, yes, people do want bug fixes, but a lot of these bug fixes are like not really the ones that people really want instead of content. Oh well. NPC related stuff, gonna skip over that. Arenas and war zones, there's an update. No, there isn't. It's nothing. They made like a bug fix. Whoop-de-doo. So there's no real updates to PvP. That's expected with 7.2 if I remember correctly. Okay, this is cool though. For the events that are rotating, the Rakghoul, Gree, Pirate Incursion, Swoop Gang, and Bounty Hunter, they will now reward Daily Resource Matrix and Noble Decurion distribution chests. So awesome. I love way more ways to get gear and to get currency, so that's exciting. They made some bug fixes in the Nar Shaddaa Nightlife event. Feast of Prosperity, they've made a few fixes, including Primal Destroyer on Belsavis. Apparently they finally fixed the problem that would prevent him from ever respawning, so that's exciting if that has been properly fixed. And you can now unlock some following emotes properly in your collections from Feast of Prosperity. Conquest, the mission weekly daily area from Manon now gives credit toward the technological advancement mission. So that is getting your legendary item, I believe. No, I don't know what that is. Anyways, and technological advancement missions no longer grant conquest points. Oh, I think that's what it is. Yeah, Manon is going to be an invadable planet. I might have skipped over that. So that's pretty cool that we're now going to be able to invade Manon. And there's adding more ways to get conquest on it. And Galactic Seasons. Oh, yeah, it's not out yet. It'll be out soon though, right? So this was a quick skim through. Again, we're going to skip and talk about the balance changes at the end. Now I want to go on to Reddit and look at some of the reactions so far for 7.1.1, because some of it's quite amusing and some of it's just quite telling. So, state of the game, right? This mask is no longer clipping with the character's mouth and chin during cinematics when equipped on female characters, according to the patch notes. Hi folks, thanks for the report regarding this mask. Our team was aware of the bug and is currently looking into it. 19th of October, 2022. Right? So, like, the patch notes said they fixed it, and then, like, after the patch has already been posted on Wednesday, they're like, oh, sorry, we're looking into the bug. We're aware of the bug of the thing that we fixed. I already showed you this one. So graphical glitch somebody experienced, right? Not really a big deal, just amusing. Oh man, so many people are so excited, and I agree with them, totally right to be excited about having access to this armor set now with the collector's edition vendor, if you want to pay for that. So that is really exciting. keep that up there just a little bit longer. Okay, game update, returning cartel market armor sets. So as I was saying, a lot of items have been added back onto the cartel market that were previously on there. So nice to have that big update, right? This doesn't include the weapons that have been added. We talked about the amount of people having problems with the show gear's outfit and thinking that their outfits were bugged and didn't work. Gosh. Whatever. I love this. Update 7.1.1 added slides. So, yeah. I just love it when people like find silly bugs and just share it with the rest of us, right? That is great. Companions are still underperforming in level sync content. Yeah, so anyways, so I've been noticing some issues with level scaling that definitely I'm finding some things are harder than before. Apparently I'm not the only one. Okay, new cartel market items. So these are, as far as I understand, these are actually completely brand new items. So they've got a new pink lightsaber crystal, and I love pink lightsaber crystals. I probably won't be getting this one because I think I'm happy with the one I got, but I'm definitely going to take a look and see if I like it or not. Mandalorian Hunter reskin. Mixed reviews on this. Some people are super excited about it. Some people feel ripped off that it is just a minor update to something that existed, but whatever. And then the Sahara reskin outfit. And then there's Andor themed weapons. So these look decent. I haven't previewed them. Some people don't like certain aspects of them. You know what? Cosmetics are always going to be like that. Some people love them, some people don't. The hologram pack, I've heard great things about how many holograms are in there, so that's great. I think hologram decos are cool, so that's great. Red Hiss mount, the collector's edition vendor pass, talked about that, that's great. And then this new police die module, they're pretty slick looking. I am quite happy with how they look. I've seen a few previews of how they look. And then Galactic Seasons 3. Yeah, so where is the thing about when is Galactic Seasons coming back? Tomorrow. So tomorrow it's supposed to be out, Galactic Seasons 3. They're going to take the servers down and they're going to be trying to deploy the patch or the fix to actually get it working. Also, Halloween themed treatment chamber. This is cool. I like it. Yes, it's a jack-o'-lantern that you get healed inside of. I might have to get this. I'm usually not one for cosmetic items, but I'm really tempted to get that. So that's a maybe. That's definitely a maybe. What else do we got here? Oh yes, the infamous, I'm really upset that BioWare made it sound like we were getting something great out of this year. And it's, you know, the year-long celebration is almost over. Yeah, there's not much to be said here other than like, I have enough experience in the world to understand that when BioWare talked about the year-long celebration, they were putting positive spin on a pile of shit. Like literally the lack of content that we were going to have this year and the lack of resources they have to keep updating the content and the way they talked about having all these updates throughout the year and all this and how much they've struggled to meet the deadlines they've been setting. Yeah, it was super obvious to me that this was just a fresh PR spin to basically say, how can we word this in such a way that maybe people will think it's a good thing when in reality, it's like not a good thing. And we have to find how to like use nice words to stretch our value as far as possible, right? So yes, year-long celebration, 10th year anniversary. A lot of people have come to realize how it wasn't what they thought it meant, and it was just them basically saying, what's the best way we can reword the fact that we don't have the resources to keep pushing out content and stuff for the game anywhere near at the rate that players would like. And a lot of that's just because there aren't enough players playing the game, so they're not making enough money off the game, right? Like simple economics is part of it. So, and then known issues, right? So here are a few known issues that have been reported so far. So yeah, players are still able to learn and craft the missile backblast schematic, even though the tactical itself has been removed from the game. Wow, yeah. Endless loading screens are back while they've never really gone away. Who doesn't love an endless loading screen anyways? I like having an excuse to use Alt F4 other than when I'm not supposed to be playing and I need to quickly quit the game. I mean, that never happens. Augmented Holocom Tactical doesn't get grant an additional charge to trick move holo traverse. Whatever. Masters of Manon achievement is not complete if the Masters of the Sea achievement was completed before 7.1.1. Oh, that's a bummer. Guild perks, anniversary event, and Kaizaiken Bender rotation are not active. So yeah, year-long celebration, and right now you can't access the anniversary event vendor. Oh, joy. And I hope the guild perk fix doesn't take long like it did previously. Oh, that was rough the last time they broke it. The following emotes from the Feast Prosperity event cannot be unlocked in collections. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. So there we go. There's a few things. There's some Reddit reactions, right? There haven't been too many things, thankfully. There haven't been a ton of bugs. There's been more excitement. But there definitely have been a few bugs that have cropped up. There's definitely a lot of excitement over new items that have been added. And especially the Collector's Edition vendor. Yeah. And then there's, of course, a lot of frustration over the fact that the game just doesn't have the content updates, right? There's just very little content coming out. It is surprising to see the amount of quality of life changes and bug fixes in this patch, although most of the bug fixes aren't exactly what people want bug fixed. Yeah, so we won't go over any of this stuff. That gets pretty boring to go over that. So let's go back to class balance changes and let's talk a little bit about class balance changes. There's a lot to go over here. So bear with me and skip around to different parts in the recording if you are interested in specifically something about the class that you're playing. So mostly damage classes have been tweaked and the 3 healer classes have also been tweaked as well. So let's start off with combat styles. Here's some bug fixes. Advanced Prototype Tactics has a new tactical. Until you read it and then you're like, it's absolute dog crap. As far as I know, it's still dog crap. I haven't heard anyone say that that has changed about it. And I'll let you know maybe if I find out in the future one day that it's actually worth using. But as of right now, the last thing that I've read is this new tactical is pointless. I don't even know if it's that good for PvP. But Madness and Balance has a new tactical for doing AoE damage, so that's really exciting. Demolish hits all targets affected by your death mark. So that is great. I don't know exactly how it works, if it's when you cast Demolish that it spreads, or every time Demolish ticks on a target, it spreads the damage to all targets affected by your death mark. I don't care. It makes AoE damage better. I'm happy. So, combat style changes to Operatives or Scoundrels. These are big. There are lots of changes here to everything, although most of it's happening to Scrapper and Sawbones, or Medicine and Concealment, right? So general just changes for the DPS specs is Dodge and Evasion now lowers the threat. It's also a threat dump and lasts 1 second longer. So once again, they're making this one button do everything for you. I'm not a big fan of that style, but okay, whatever. Now the big thing is AoE DR has been added. You cannot get it on the healing class, but you can get it on either DPS class, either by choosing Strategic Surrender or Sly Surrender. You get 60% AoE DR when dodge is active, and this also applies if you take the one that gives you dodge on your stealth out of combat, right? So same thing on imp side, you're going to see whatever it's called on that side. And then there was another bug fix I think I saw. A tooltip fix. Okay, that doesn't really matter. So Scrapper and Concealment. This is where we're seeing a huge amount of nerfs and a huge amount of changes. So this is a burst spec. The only thing that it was previously bringing to fights was damage, and they've nerfed the damage a lot, and they've given it a little bit of AoE DR. Don't know if it's enough to make up for all the damage nerfs that it's receiving, as they are huge. Acid Blast Tactical no longer improves the damage of Acid Blade, like 5.5% damage nerf, big damage nerf. Increase the duration of Advanced Stealth mod, I don't care about that, but increase the duration of Tactical Critical mod effect from 8 seconds up from 4 seconds. If you were a top tier player, this doesn't make a difference. You already had near 100% uptime on this, but for everybody else, this is going to be great. It's going to make it much easier to keep up 100% uptime on that extra critical. I had it written down in here somewhere when I was going through stuff. I don't remember what it was, but either way, it just makes it easier, right? Increase the damage reduction per stack from the defensive stance mod. It's going to 5% up from 3%. This sounds great. This is a ton of damage reduction that you're going to get from defensive stance mod. There's just one big problem. Look at what else is in the tree. You are going to have to give up a huge amount of damage by no longer getting a reduced cooldown on Stim Boost or Pugnacity. So if you're playing any kind of group content, I can't recommend this mod. There's absolutely no reason to give up that much damage of Stim Boost and Pugnacity for damage reduction. Now, if you're not a very skilled player and you find that you're not using your Stim Boost and Pugnacity, by all means, right, go for the damage reduction. But just learn to play a bit better. If you are playing solo though, this could be useful. I think this is something I'll actually be taking while I'm playing solo. Like doing heroics and stuff. I hate how squishy this class is and how easy it is to die. But now with how much DR you get from this, yeah, I think for solo play, this is going to be a loadout for me. Definitely. Reduce the critical damage bonus given while Stim Boost is active. So yeah, Stim Boost is no longer giving as much crit damage bonus. That's a nerf, straight up nerf, right? It's going to be, I don't know exactly how much damage nerf it is, but it's less than 0.5% if I remember correctly. Relentless Blades now increases damage of laceration by 10% in addition to its previous effects. So they are giving us a little bit of a damage buff to make up for some of the nerf, but I don't even remember Relentless Blades. Is that just a straight up passive? Or I don't think it's a mod, so I think it's a straight up buff. Anyways, defensive stance now lasts for 10 seconds, up from 6. Best defense mod now adds lifesteal component to Crippling Slice. You don't get to use Crippling Slice very often, and it's only 50% lifesteal. I'm not sure if it's going to be that useful, but you know, I've already talked about the fact that I'm probably going to be taking, wait, no, it's best defense mod. Oh, I don't know if I'm taking that mod or not, but yeah, there's a bit of lifesteal. It's not super big. Maybe PvPers might find it more useful. I don't know if it'll be useful for PvE yet. And then increase the movement speed bonus granted by quick countermeasures. And yeah, nice, but not super important. Okay, so that is Concealment Scrapper. Big damage nerfs in general, and a bunch of DR, which is useless if you actually need your damage, but very useful if you just want to play solo content. And they're just making the class a little bit easier to play in terms of increasing the duration of stuff, so it's easier to get that uptime on those buffs, which is really nice. Now, healers. So I have lost my favorite part about 7.0 healing. It was a necessary burf. Wow. This nerf was deserved, but I'm missing it nonetheless because it was super fun to get insane amounts of healing by spamming Underworld Medicine or Kolto Injection on yourself and watching it do AoE heals around you. So yes, that is very disappointing. You're only going to heal your secondary targets 50% of, right? So Medical Burst or Kolto Burst mod, right? The AoE healing it does is cut in half. This means that we're back to actually using Kolto Waves. So in 7.0, Kolto Waves were 100% useless because this was better in every single way. It was better. The only reason why it wasn't better is it took a little bit longer to get the healing out because Kolto Waves ticked. So you can get that first tick a bit faster than channeling. But anyways, so yeah, Kolto Waves is back in flavor. This mod still is useful though. Even with that nerf, there's still a reason to take it because there's absolutely no cooldown attached to this ability. So I would say it's probably still going to be used a lot of the time. It's just not going to do anywhere near as much healing anymore. And you'll have to play a bit better and be using your slow release med packs or Kolto probes, I think they're called on Imp side. You'll have to have those up a little bit more. The Underworld Tactic mod now additionally grants 10% increased healing to Underworld Medicine. Chances are that's absolutely garbage and nobody will take it. It was garbage before. It will probably still be garbage again. Reduced healing. And plus, you would have to take that instead of Medical Burst, right? So, absolutely dumb. Reduce the healing received bonus given by Kolto Mark to 10%, down from 20%. Now, on Republic side, this is a buff because this didn't work. It's never worked on Republic side. It's always been 0. So when you put Kolto Cloud on somebody, if you took this mod, it says you'd get 20% additional healing to that target or for like 6 seconds. It didn't work. It worked on imp side, so it's a nerf on imp side because they're going from 20% to 10%. And if they fixed it on pub side, it's a buff. So yeah, the thing is, so of course you are taking this instead of medical burst or culto burst, and there were situations where it was being recommended because some fights you don't need AoE healing that you get from medical burst. So yeah, we'll see. This is probably still what you're taking instead of Underworld Tactics. And then redesigned Defensive Medicine mod, which is now called Reactive Substance, and it does the following. Underworld Medicine applies a reactive substance to the target for 10 seconds. If the target is dealt damage during this time, they are healed, stacks up 2 times. So we're losing what used to be 5% damage reduction, and instead we're gaining 2 stacks that can heal the target if they take damage within that 10 seconds. So this is one of those weird situations where there's no easy answer if it's better than what we had, if it's a nerf, if it's a buff, because it really depends. In situations where the target was taking a lot of damage, 5% DR is better, end of story, especially when it's a lot of hits, right? Not big spike, like it's still 5% DR, it's still, yeah, it's better the more damage you take than 2 ticks of healing, which is a fixed amount. But in situations where the target really wasn't getting hit much and they weren't taking big damage, this is going to be a buff, right? So it's kind of, yeah. I think I messed up. I think this one is actually in the same tree as Medical Burst, whatever, instead of the Underworld Tactics mods. I can't remember, right? But either way, this is something that I can't, no, I think it was something that was separate. Because I think I remember, yeah, I remember having it anyway. So this is interesting. It's just been a change. Oh well, I don't really care. It doesn't bug me that much. Gunslinger and Sniper. Yeah, so illegal mods now generates a charge of Smuggler's Luck. I guess that's a bug fix for a Gunslinger. And for Sniper, target acquired now generates a chance of laze target. All right, same idea. Sharpshooter and Marksman. It doesn't matter what they've changed. It's still a dumpster fire. But Lucky Thoughts mod no longer triggers off critical hits. All damage now has a 50% chance to trigger the effect of Lucky Thoughts. So the important thing to pull away from this is it changes things a little bit, right? So pay attention. I don't know the class. I can't give you any advice, but it sounds like it's going to change how you play the class if you want to be optimal. So yeah, still going to be a dumpster fire though. Just give me a second here. I am going to look up. Okay, leaderboards. We'll bring this onto here. So we're going to Parsley. We're going to check out the DPS leaderboards. We're going to look at Marksman just to see what this is actually changing. Marksman. And then we're going to go here, show results from the mirror combat style. Okay, we're going to hit display for live. So yeah, there's been quite a few people who've been parsing Marksman already. Right, they didn't reset the leaderboards. So we're seeing like, yeah, they were a dumpster fire, right? Like top parse is 29,000 and it quickly falls off from there to 28,000, right? And then it just, like, you can be on the leaderboard with 22,500. Something is wrong with the class. So the interesting thing though is, do we see any from the recent patch? So right here, 29,000. So yeah, right? Somebody got a 29k parse after 7.1.1 came out. Somebody else got 28.5. Like that's it. We're not seeing anything significant, right? So the class, oh, here's another one, 27,000, right? So you could try and do the comparison thing and see if that would work out. So we've got Meowing, and let's compare him against I'm Trash. Sure, right? And then ability by ability comparison just to see if their rotation changed a bit. I don't know anything about the class. Does it look like it's changed? Whatever, right? I don't care. Okay, on to something more interesting. Vanguard and Powertech. There have been changes here. So if you're playing the dot spec, Plasma Tech, Powertech, apparently it's allowed to be amazingly good, but they decided to nerf it. Just not much, right? So it's been performing exceptionally well in content. It's always been a staple of one of the best DPS specs. If you're good at it, you can do amazing things with it. And yeah, so they're a little bit of a nerf here. So multiple abilities. So let's look at on Pyrotech, for example. Charge Gauntlets, critical damage bonus for Searing Wave, Flaming Fist, Scorch, and Immolate is now 10% down from 15%. So critical damage bonus, 5% loss there on a few of your abilities. You'll feel it, but it's not really that big of a damage nerf. Burnout Searing Waves causes your next immolate to deal 30% additional damage, down from 40. I think this means that it's a nerf to your AoE damage, so not your single target. Well, it's your single target as well, that's true, right? But it's not a huge, right? So your immolate is doing a bit less damage. That's definitely a nerf. Not the end of the world, though. Okay, where the real big changes come in is AP and Tactics. So on paper, this looked like a big nerf, and in reality, this is going to be a nerf as well. So if we look at Advanced Prototype, we still got the mirror results selected, so we can see both. This has been reset because there's been a change. So right now we can see parsing 20. This class is not designed to parse well, right? So take this with a grain of salt. It's really meant to perform well. So this is actually pretty decent that someone's managed to find a way to 29k, but I'll also say that I have heard that there's a way to do a trick to get higher damage on the dummy than you're actually supposed to be able to get, right? So here we've got some 27k parses, which are probably a little bit more realistic, but what we'll do now is we'll go back in time and see what people are parsing before this. So 31,300, 31,000, 30,700. So, you know, we could get someone getting 31k, and 30.5k wasn't that unrealistic. Whereas right now, nobody has been able to cross 29.5. So we're already seeing at least a 1k damage loss, but realistically, I think it's going to be a little bit more. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure from what I've read that this parse is very misleading, using a little bit of a bug that people have figured out to increase your damage. Don't quote me on that. But the reason why the damage has been nerfed. Okay, so Tactical Surge or Magnetic Blast. This is your primary filler that you use unless, of course, you're low on energy. Straight up 14% damage nerf. So if we go into the class here, and sure, we'll just look at the top one. It doesn't really matter. If we look at how much damage Magnetic Blast is, it's 15% of the damage in the rotation, right? So you're getting 14% less damage from an ability that makes up a huge amount of your damage overall. So that's why it's such a big thing. High Yield Explosive Stacks damage bonus has been nerfed, right? So Assault Plastique, or on the Imp side, you would call that Thermal Detonator. The damage bonus has been nerfed down from 20% to only a 16% bonus. So it's not a huge nerf, mostly a burst nerf, so you're not getting quite the same amount of burst. High Friction Bolts damage reduced to 5%, down from 15%. I actually don't even know what this is, even though I play the class and I've made a guide on it. I don't know what High Friction Bolts is. Or Serrated Blades. I'm like, is that... Like Serrated Blades sounds like the dot. But I'm like, what? I actually don't know what this is. Anyways, that's a damage nerf. So if we look at, where is Serrated Blades? Does it show up on here? Retractable Blade? No. I'm bleeding from Retractable Blade. So I have no idea what that is. Still, I'm still confused. Awesome. I love it when, like, I'm supposed to know these things. And, like, I'm just like, I actually didn't even know that existed. Combine into Prototype Rail. Yeah. I don't know exactly what that is. But yeah, something's been nerfed. Triumph damage increase to bleeding targets is reduced to 3%, down from 5%. Small nerf, but it's a nerf. Now this one's pretty big. Superheated Cells damage is reduced by 25%. So that is a big nerf. It's not an ability we use all the time, but it was one that hit really hard. So yeah, it's not like the end of the world, the damage nerfs, but it's definitely frustrating that the class has been nerfed. Because who likes nerfs? Almost nobody. Very few people do. All right, Jedi Shadow and Sith Assassin. These are some other major changes as well. This class has really been, it's got a lot of things to think about. Okay, so first thing I want to say is Infiltration and Deception. As far as I understand, it sounds like this is a bit of a buff. There's been quite a few changes here, and the rotation I don't think is changing a lot, but potentially it is. Some people have said they've really liked the fact that Energy Blade ability mod has been altered. I've heard some things about that. Faulting Slash, right? So it might change the rotation a bit. Severing Slash now gets damage reduction per target hit. I don't know if that means anyone's going to start taking Severing Slash. Maybe for PvP. Maybe. They seem to want you to, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Redesign may cause injury tactical to grant the AoE version of Force Breach more often. It now reads, gaining a stack of Clairvoyance causes your next Force Breach to arc to multiple targets. Cool. I have no idea what that does. I don't play the class, but it sounds good. Battle Readiness now increases damage of Shadow Technique by 100% and the chance for it to trigger by 50%. Sounds great. Probably doesn't make a big difference, but sounds great. And Cleaving Cut builds stacks of Clairvoyance. Woo, let's make Cleaving Cut a thing. Potent Perception now increases Clairvoyant strike damage by 10% and reduces the cooldown of Force Potency by 5 seconds each time it deals damage. That's a buff. Sounds good. Serenity and Hatred. Here is the big thing that has changed. And yeah, you're probably going to have to change how you play the rotation as a result, and the class has probably been nerfed a fair bit. So increase the lifesteal amount from Severing Slash to 50%. Woo, Cleaving Cut, trying to make it a thing. Maybe it'll work in PvP. Greetings from Germany. Wait, I'm not in Germany. I mean, greetings to Germany from Canada. Yes, it is 10:20 p.m. here, and I should have been in bed half an hour ago. But my first recording of this, my OBS screwed up and my mic wasn't enabled, so I had to redo the whole thing. If anyone's wondering on the YouTube VOD why I'm talking like this, it's because I'm also streaming to Twitch at the same time. And I'm talking to somebody who talks in chat. Anyways, so yes, hello to you too from Germany. From Canada to Germany. Hatred. Right. Big thing is change the 2-time trouble tactical so it can no longer take creeping tear damage from Saber Strike. So basically you're not going to spam Saber Strike. So you're going to have to learn a slightly new rotation or a drastically new rotation. I don't know how much it'll change the rotation, but it will change it. Increase the proc chance from melee attacks on 2-time trouble to 60%, up from 50%. So they're trying to slightly make up for the nerf to the tactical. And then Fulguration? Wow. Now restores 5 force when lightning charge deals damage, up from 3. So again, they're trying to give you a bit of energy management because they screwed up your energy management with this rebalance the class. So they're trying to make up for it by giving you a bit more back. Increase the damage bonus given by pervasive death to death field to 15%, up from 10%. Again, a buff to try and make up for the nerf. Increase the critical hit chance and damage bonus from Hungering Force mod to 10%, up from 5%. Added a bonus 10% lifesteal to periodic damage. That actually sounds pretty good. Fix an issue where the tooltip was incorrectly saying it regenerated 1 force instead of 2. And Overcharged Saber now grants a 50% bonus to lifesteal while active. So that's pretty interesting. The amount of extra lifesteal sounds good. Let's take a look and see what has happened so far with the class on Parsley, on the combat dummy. So we're going to look at Hatred. We're going to make sure that we're showing combat styles that are mirrored. It has been reset and a lot of people have already parsed it. And that's not bad. 34.5. I can't remember if this class has a dummy trick to make its damage appear higher than it is, but 34,000, a lot of parses around 34,000. Let's look at what it was before. So it's not doing any better than before, and it's important to note that they have buffed the relics. So all the relics are buffed and you're doing more damage if everything else remains unchanged, just because your relics are better now. So yes, they have definitely been nerfed because they're not doing better damage even though they have the better relics, but it's not that bad. Like it really isn't looking that bad. The fact that they're that close, right? Like it hasn't been a huge change. If we go and we look at Concealment Scrapper, you know, that's a bit of a different story. Like 32, 32, 31 versus 34.5 to 34, right? So you can see how Concealment Scrapper got hit with the nerf back really hard, even with the relics being better and causing a slight damage increase. They're still down over 2k. So that's what I expected. It was about a 6% nerf is what I calculated on paper, or about 2k, but they had some other buffs that I didn't know how much would bring them up, right? Oh my gosh, I agree with you. As much as drama is stupid, I also love the people like who are just like so upset over these nerfs, and it's like some of them aren't that big of a deal, like they suck, but the people are like, I'm gonna cancel my sub because my thing got nerfed, and it's like, yeah, Yeah, whatever, man. Like, I'll laugh. I'll have a laugh thanks to your, But, like, seriously, like, Deception, I don't even think Deception's nerfed. It could be. I thought it was a buff reading this. It sounds like it's been buffed, not nerfed. So far, what I've seen, people are actually kind of happy. They said it's quite exciting, some of the changes of Deception. Okay, Sentinel Marauder. What's happening here? Not really much. Reducing the ability recharge time of Force Clarity and Furious Power has been fixed. Oh, really? It's not much of a nerf. I didn't think. I'm going to have to take a look. I thought it was. Oh, man. Apparently, I'm really wrong about Deception Infiltration. So let's go take a look and see. So we are looking at about 31,000. Yeah, okay, and 31.5 is the highest. And previously it was parsing. Oh, wow, that is quite a nerf. Oh, I was totally wrong. Okay, so this class has been nerfed. Shows you how little I know about how the class plays. That's actually a pretty significant nerf. This nerf, the raw damage output is nerfed just as much, if not slightly more, than Concealment Scrapper. So, but the class doesn't suck as much as Concealment Scrapper, so shut up. But yeah, okay, so it's been nerfed. I mean, that was interesting. Thanks for pointing that out. That's actually pretty significant, but it nowhere near makes the class unplayable, right? Like, and you don't have to learn all, whatever. I think part of the thing too, though, people are trying out new rotations, so who knows? The dice may fall a little differently. Anyways, Marauder and Sentinel. I really like the fact that finally we don't have to wait 30 seconds to build stacks again. That'd be great. Should be 15 now. And Defile Splice Genes Tactical, basically a PvP tactical, it's been nerfed. Your Force Camo isn't as good with the tactical as it used to be. Nothing else to say there. Sorcerer and Sage. There are quite a few changes here. We'll start off with the Healer this time, just because that's how the devs put in their patch notes. So the Healers are getting a buff. So we're going to be seeing, I'm going to look at the public side, because I know those terms better. Clairvoyance, Renewal and Rejuvenate have their healing increased by 15% up from 10%. Yep, just straight up heal buff. Use those abilities enough that you'll notice it. Altruism, Benevolence gains a 60% healing increase up from 50%. Yeah, you proc that often enough, you're going to notice that healing buff. Resurging Power, each stack of Resurging Power increases the healing done by Benevolence, Deliverance, or Keep of the Peace by 5% up from 3. You're going to notice that again. So straight up some healing buffs. It looks like mostly single target healing buffs. I'm not seeing a lot of extra AoE heals in there. That's alright though, but it's just nice to see some buffs, especially with the operative healing getting nerfed. Lightning Telekinetics. People are a little bit annoyed about this. There's nerfs here, and there's changes to the rotation here. So, what is happening? Critical hit damage bonus is being nerfed for Convection. Thundering Blast, second arc of damage, deals is being nerfed, right? Not a big deal, but small nerf there. Stormwatch damage decreased by 4%, straight up nerf there. Halted offensive cast time increased from 2.5 to 3 seconds. So this is a nerf, kind of. So if you're used to the new rotation of hard casting halted offensive, yeah, it's a nerf. It's going to take you 3 seconds instead of 2.5 seconds to hard cast it. They're trying to push you back towards the priority system, waiting until halted offensive becomes an instant cast, right? But the big problem is halted offensive has been nerfed, 15% less damage. So straight up nerfs the damage as well as making the cast time longer to try and discourage players from hard casting it. Thunder and Lightning ability mod damage increased to 10% up from 5%. So yeah, here we go. There's a buff, right? Convection, Thundering Blast grants Reserve Darkness, making Dark Heal an instant cast and increasing its healing by 30%, stacks up 2 times. Must be a PvP thing. I can't think of a reason for PvE. Madness Balance. This is interesting. Buffs, 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 and potentially a new rotation. So yeah, there's lots of changes here. So what's happening here? Deathfield and Deathbrand grant Vitiate's Malice, giving Force Lightning 20% lifesteal for 12 seconds. I don't know how this plays out for the total healing that the class has. I don't know if it's better or worse than what we had before. Hopefully it's not worse, but because it was so good how busted good their self-healing was. I hope. Anyways, if they nerfed it, I'm not too concerned. Force Ores, increase periodic damage to 20%. This is great. Just straight up buff to your periodic damage, 20% instead of 15. Or you're going to feel that. That's going to be good. Lightning Barrage. Force Lightning reduced damage changed to minus 20% down from minus 25. I have no idea what this means, but sure. Tempest of Row correctly applies 50% chance of Force Lightning to trigger periodics effects down from 75%. So this is a big nerf. Force Lightning spam used to be so good because the tactical was not working as intended, and it was actually ticking Creeping Terror 75% chance, so it was almost always ticking it. It was ticking it so often that you got a huge damage boost, and there was no reason to use Lightning Strike previously. But now Force Lightning only has a 50% chance to trigger it, so there is a little bit of weight given to using Lightning Strike when it's procs as an instant cast now. You'd still never want to hard channel it though, because it's only one tick compared to the multiple ticks of Force Lightning. Updated the Tempest of Row Tactical's description to accurately reflect its intended behavior without self-healing. So people are trying new rotations. Damage output is looking really good. Madness is looking like it's strong again. So I'm excited about that. I'm interested to see if you really need to change the rotation, because the amount of extra damage you get from changing the rotation might not be enough that it really matters, but it looks like you will want to change your rotation if you want to be the absolute top damage. And a lot of people are going back to Plague Masters and having fun with blowing up their dots now that they've had this buff to them. When you blow up your dots with your shock, yeah, or project, especially if you get lucky and crit, holy. Oh, right. So there we go. That's what's happening with Sage Seer. We're seeing Madness getting buffed. We're seeing TK Lightning getting nerfed. Let's take a look actually at TK and Lightning. I'm really curious. Lightning. No, that's Lethality. Lethality didn't get changed. Lightning. Wait, what? He did? Lightning wasn't reset? That is really weird. Huh. Alright, so it doesn't look significant, the nerf to Lightning, especially if you know how to play. We see a 32,700 on the 18th, which is when the patch launched. Do we see any others from the 18th? 31,800. So yeah, it's definitely looking like there's a nerf there, but it's not looking as significant as some people are afraid of, would be my initial thoughts just looking. I'm surprised that Parsley, oh wait, I see. No, it is filtered for 7.1. Okay, so here we go. So 33,000, right? That was pretty achievable for the top parsers. Now let's look at live, and it's a scary story. So far nobody has broken 30k. So significant nerfs for Lightning. Yeah, 7.2, no idea when that will be out, but that will bring our PvP changes. So no PvP changes in this patch, but I really don't think it's a good idea how much they like to do balance by changing a lot of things at once. From other games that I've played, I've come to realize that a lot of times small balance changes have a way larger impact than devs ever anticipated. So having so many balance changes all at once is not really good, right? You just create more balance issues, but we'll see. We will see. So Mercenary and Commandos. What are the changes here? They've already tweaked the DPS classes, so nothing further coming along. They still want Arsenal and Gunnery to suck, so it's not horribly bad, but it's still pretty much at the bottom of the barrel. But it's, considering how many other classes have been nerfed, it doesn't look so bad anymore. There's always that. And IO Assault Specialist is actually doing pretty good. But the healers, this is the big thing. Healers have been buffed. And I've been hearing lots of good things about the healing buff, and AoE healing buff is potentially in there in a weird way. So what is going on with our, let's look at the Republic side, the Combat Medic. Increase the healing done by Advanced Medical Probe, Back to Infusion, Successive Treatment, Colto Bomb, and Colto Pods by 2%. That's a lot of things that are getting a 2% heal increase. So not a huge increase, but a lot of things. Increase the critical healing bonus given by Potent Medicine to 10% up from 5%, or on the imp side it's Warden. So that is big, an extra 5% healing boost given by Potent Medicine or Warden. Increase the healing bonus given by Integrated Probes mod, 5% up from 3. Yeah, it's a buff. Increase the critical chance bonus of Advanced Medical Probe from Critical Probes mod to 10% up from 5%. So again, just a buff. Oh, I'm not going to edit this YouTube video. Everything that you're seeing on Twitch, they're going to see on YouTube, because this one is getting 0 edits. I usually do tons of editing for my YouTube, but I'm just not into it right now. So this is what everyone's getting. Yeah, so anyways, that's all the class balance stuff. So you did miss a few other things on the stream that I already talked about, if any latecomers. But as far as the YouTube video goes, there you guys go. Those are like the big changes that are happening with 7.1.1, why it matters to you. Galactic Seasons 3 is going to be pushed out tomorrow. They're going to take the servers down for a little bit to get it rolling, so it should actually be live. Lots of new items to look forward to, lots of great things like that. And if anybody was wondering what this Excel sheet is back behind me here, it's just a little side project I've been toying around with, trying to figure out critical versus mastery diminishing returns for my healing on Sawbone Scoundrel. I've just been testing out a few different builds to see at what point do I want to get mastery instead of critical, right? So right now it's kind of looking like at 4K crit, dump the rest into mastery with augments, just because your Underworld Medicine and your Culto Pack benefits so much from getting extra mastery. You get, and your Slow Release Med Pack, which is a big chunk of your healing, actually benefits as well a little bit, right? What did I do? What? Oh, here we go. Slow Release Med Pack. Yeah. So yeah, you're definitely seeing, you know, Underworld Medicine, Slow Release Med Pack, Culto Pack, they all get more healing. Even Diagnostic Scan gets more healing from adding in some mastery once you've hit that 4K crit. I don't even know if it might happen earlier than that. Sawbones, still best healer in operations? No. But it's still good, but it's been nerfed significantly. But it's still good. Yeah, we'll see. Time will tell. I wouldn't be surprised if Commando Mercenary is back to being best healer, but Sawbones Medicine might still hold the edge. It's going to be interesting to see if it manages to hold its lead or not anymore with that nerf to Culto Burst. All right, so hopefully that was informative to everybody. Hopefully they learned a few things about 7.1.1. Hopefully they learned a few things about kind of my thoughts on how Star Wars has gone over the last year, right, where it's headed, all that kind of good stuff. Lots of nice little quality of life changes. I know there's a couple things I'd wanted to mention that I just can't remember, and this list is so big. I don't want to go through it forever, right? So sorry about that, guys. If I do come across it again, I'll be posting some stuff in the comments or in the description of the video, so you can always come back and check and see if it's been updated, or while you're watching it, check and see, but I really doubt it. So as always, have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Where was I?